I'm going to talk about some watercolor painting techniques. First, let's talk about brushes. This is a flat brush, a lot of hair, and this is about 1 inch, 1.5 inch, and I also have another that's about 1/2 inch. So these 3 brushes, it cover pretty good size of shapes. And I'm going to talk about how to use this brush effectively. Let's first wet it. Let's take a look. They're afraid of using a big brush. They rather use a smaller brush. So I'm going to take this color. It's just because it seems like difficult to control. It's actually the opposite. It's actually pretty good, easy to control. So only a brush. Okay. I'm going to mix darker colors so you can see better. Okay, I'm going to take this color. Let's say, if you are going to wash it a big area, so of course it's easy, you just push it down and move it, then you can wash a big area. Very easy, and the texture is very consistent. There's a very good benefit coming from using a big brush. And you want to do a smaller area, you can use the same brush. Let's see. So whatever shape that you want to do, you can do that with even 1 touch with this bigger brush. It depends on what kind of shape that you want to get. Okay, so just try it. Try with your tool. Pick up a large brush and then try it to see how you can control with the movement and with the direction, with the angle to lay down the brush to create different shapes that you needed. So the second thing I want to talk about is the technique is called wet into wet. Let's say this is already have a big wet space, but I want to have another color that is not the same color, but I want to have a very smooth transition. For example, I just want the red over here. So when you do that, when it's still wet, you can see the transition between this color and that color to have a very smooth transition between these 2 colors. And now I'm taking some yellow color from here. Let's see. Now you can see it created from the yellow to red, and in between there's some orange color. Then you can also see that's similar to mixed color on the paper directly. Okay. And I'm going to get some blue colors. This is all 3 primary colors. Now I'm going to get the blue colors. You can see by applying the colors when it's wet, you can create lots of transitions. This is very helpful when you are doing that as the first step of the painting process to create the overall effect. And then you can redevelop it, fine-tune it, and the following step. Now let's talk about the lifting up technique. This is still wet, but that already dried. Let's see, I'm going to develop a little shape over here. Okay. You just use the brush and you remove most of the water out from the brush. So the water saturation in this brush is less than what you have on the paper. So let's see. Like that. You can take it out. And I know some artists, they like to use other tools. For example, tissues. You can use tissues. You can use other absorbent materials that you can use to take out the colors. That's called lifting up colors when it is wet. Okay. And you also can use other brush, like say round brush. This is sable round brush number 12, and I soften it. To wet it first, but the water saturation is less than what you have on the paper. That's how you take the color out from the paper. Okay, that's a lifting off technique when it's still wet. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, what about this is already dry? How can I take the color out? Let's see. The first, you can wet this area. And then let go all the water in the brush, and then you can lift off the rest of the wet. So it's a lifting off technique. And I also want to talk about scratch. I have another video about different timing for scratch. So I'd like you to watch that so you can understand a different timing of the drying process. When is the best time and what kind of tool that you should use for this technique. Okay, now I'm going to do this. This is take off a very thin line off from the paper. And you can do the twisting. But if you look at the top over here, it's already dry. You cannot do much about the scratching. Usually it's about 3 to 4 minutes. It's best timing. Right before it turns to dry. Okay, down here, you can do that over here. You can do that over there, but that's already dry. Okay. As I'm seeing that accumulate the wet color at the bottom, because I have my paper coming down like this way, 15 degrees to the table. When the wet accumulate at the bottom, it always push back and create this kind of texture. Sometimes we need this kind of texture, this kind of effect, but sometimes we don't. In that case, you want to blot it off from the paper. It's pretty easy to avoid it. You can do that even earlier so it won't have this kind of look. Okay, this is easy to eliminate that. The other technique that people usually say glazing. So how to do the glazing with watercolor? Pretty easy. It's just take the color. After it's all dry, you can take this color and then put it on top of already dry layer of paint. Because the watercolor is translucent, so you can actually see all previous colors through the new layer of colors. Okay. After you lay a new layer of colors, you probably have a sharp edge. So how to eliminate that? I have a technique for it. Like say, I'm going to put this color there. So you can see, oh, that is, I have an edge for the shape. Sometimes we need the edge, sometimes we don't. In that case, it's just wash the brush, and very clean brush, just the clean brush. Just use the water to soften the edge. Here you go. A simple technique for watercolor painting. I hope that you're going to have fun and be productive enjoying our